Hello, my name is George Humphreys from Ashridge Canicrosses in the lovely Hertfordshire countryside. This video is to show you some of the pieces of equipment that are available for use in Canicross for both you and the dog. Firstly, I'd like to say, ideally find a club when you're starting out in Canicross, because a club will often have a plethora of equipment for you and your dog for you to try out. There are a lot of different styles of waist belt. There's not so many styles of bungee line, but there are a few. So let's start by looking at the human end of the line. At the human end of the line, we have a variety of belts. You have hip belts and you have waist belts. To start with, we'll look at a very latest design hip belt. The hip belt is designed to pull low down. The advantage of a low pull is as you're moving forward, the dog is pulling your hips forward into a nice upright position, which is good for running. There are a variety of lightweight belts. Again, they sit nice and low. Then you get a wider size hip belt that sits low down. This has more spread and more cover, so the dog is attached, and again the pull is low down. So there are three different styles of hip belts. You also have what is commonly referred to as a nappy belt. It's called a nappy belt because it looks like a nappy when you're wearing it, but again, when you clip around the waist, leg straps through, the pull is out nice and low down. We also have a waist belt. When a dog pulls on a waist belt, they're pulling from further up your body. This can put strain on your back. However, having a big wide pad allows the belt to take a lot of the pressure. Waist belts have their advantages. They're more multi-purpose than a hip belt. A hip belt really you're going to only use running. The nice thing about a waist belt is you could use it to walk your dog as well as taking it out running. The disadvantage of a waist belt is the pull is a lot higher. If you trip, it will pull you forward and you're more likely to fall over. So the preference is to have the lower down pull around your hips. You can control the dog more. There are a variety of waist belts. They come in all shapes and sizes. Some have extra area at the back to spread the load when you've got a really big dog on and you want to protect the small of your back and spread the load across there. So that covers a few of the styles of waist belts. On the lines, a bungee line, when extended, should be at least 2 meters for competition use. For normal use, it's not such a requirement. What I find is a line at about 1.6, 1.7 is a nice balance between control and keeping your dog at a nice distance out in front of you. So a bungee line has a section of bungee. The reason for the section of bungee is to absorb any shock when the dog starts to pull when you start running. It softens any impact. There's no snatch in the line when the dog takes off. It also absorbs a bit of the pull that you will feel when the dog takes off and starts pulling. They come in a variety of designs and thicknesses. We also have a shorter line. Shorter lines are primarily used where you've got a lot of humans around in the competition, typically a park run or something like that, where you want the dog closer to you for close control. You do get more control with the short line. And then you have double lines. Double lines tend to be slightly heavier duty because you've got the power of 2 dogs. They split to go onto the dog's harnesses, and they can split at any distance going up the line. They also have a section of bungee. The bungee tends to be a little bit stronger because you've now got two dogs taking up the slack. Some are fitted with a handle so you can hold the dogs. So that's the bungee lines. There's not really a lot to say on those. Canicross is a winter sport, so there is going to be mud. As a person, you are going to need good trail shoes. In the summer, you would use a trail shoe that's designed for more hard ground. Here we have a trail shoe. It has a reasonable level of grip on there. I use this in the summer. It's got a good level of cushioning for me. You might want more cushioning, you might want less cushioning. What is important is you are still going to need grip in the summer. In the winter, you go into a very different beast of a shoe. Cushioning is not so important because the ground will be soft, the ground may be muddy. You are looking for a shoe with a reasonable level of grip. Fell shoes are ideal for Canicross in the winter. You're not always going to find this type of shoe in your local running shop, but if you can, go and try them on. A normal running shop won't necessarily understand the levels of grip you require for Canicross. You do need to find a shoe that you're comfortable in. You'll find most Canicrossers do go and get true fell shoes designed for mud and things like that. You will need grip. When your dog pulls, if you haven't got grip on your shoes, you will slide around all over the shop. And that experience will not make it fun for you. And remember, Canicross is about fun for you and the dog. The dog has 4-paw drive, you've got 2-leg drive. You want those 2 legs to stay where you put them when you touch the ground. So look for a shoe with good grip. If your dog is slightly reactive to other dogs, make the run aware. That's quite important. Make everybody aware. We'll all give space. We all know these dogs are dogs. So just make everyone aware. We often find when they're running, dogs are fine. Starts and stops throughout the run, just give them space. If you do need to use a muzzle, and some people do, try and use the greyhound racing type muzzle, because the greyhound racing type muzzle allows your dog to breathe and to pant, most importantly. Remember, a dog loses its heat through panting and through its pads. The 2 P's, panting, pads, that's how a dog loses heat. So if you have a muzzle that is clamping around the dog's nose, they will not be able to pant, and it's unfair on the dog and should not be used. So you use a greyhound wire racing type muzzle. The next thing we are looking at from a runner's perspective is you are going to have to take stuff out, not just for you, but now for your dog. As the weather gets warmer, or even when it's cooler out there, you're going to need to take water for your dog. This is a small backpack that you would wear. It is fully loaded with 2 litres of water, and this water is primarily for my dog. So in my backpack I have 2 litres of water stashed here. I have a little bowl that folds out so that I can take water and fill up my bowl ready for the dog to drink, to give to my dog. A nice little plastic fold-up bowl is great because you can then roll it up and shove it back in and carry on running. When you're out running in a group, we will stop quite often to have doggy drinks, so be prepared to stop and give your dog a drink. It's also got pockets where I can store things like a mobile phone, for if you're out in the cross country and someone twists an ankle or someone hurts themselves badly, you may need to contact somebody. Have your emergency phone there. And your keys. One thing, make sure you stow your keys safely when you go running cross country. We've had it where people have lost their keys out running. It's not pleasant waiting in the middle of the forest for the emergency services to come and pick you up. So make sure you put your keys in a safe, zipped pocket. On some belts, you'll find there is a secure pouch on the belt to enable you to put poo bags and your keys. Other things I take out are a basic first aid kit. I have a bag. Bag's very useful. I have cotton wool in my bag, but if I don't need to use the cotton wool, the bag also makes a waterproof cover for if a dog splits a pad or something like that. Vet wrap, very useful. You can wrap your dog's feet up when they've cut a pad or something like that, but you can also use vet wrap for your ankles. Ankle twisting is quite a commonplace thing, so vet wrap's a very useful thing to have. I have some tape. I have a space blanket. We're running, remember, Canicross winter sport. If somebody falls down and hurts themselves, they'll be running in a normal running attire. If you've got a space blanket, they can keep warm. Patches and pads, things like this, they all help. So all your normal first aid stuff, a couple of moist wipes. If your dog splits a pad, you've got water, remember, in your pack that you can use to flush out any debris before you wrap it up. I carry a small pair of scissors. I also carry Piriton and anti-inflammatory painkiller for when people twist their ankles. So you carry a basic first aid kit with you at all times when out running. Other things you may need to consider are a good quality waterproof that you're able to run in. Most people use mountain equipment for the waterproofs, fully taped seams. You're out there in the cold, it's best to have good quality equipment. So that's really about all you need.